The process is quite challenging in B2B domain. The use cases are complex, but at the same time there is a satisfaction that you are solving some real need in their day-to-day lives and you are making an impact. Like by your work you are making an impact in their work cycle. So that is quite satisfying that way. I'm not saying that B2C is not, but like personally I find B2B to be more fulfilling.
Welcome to Design Drives, your audio experience about what, how, and why design drives things forward. A podcast hosted by Sebastian Gear, together with forward-thinking design practitioners from around the world.
In this episode, I talk with Tanu Malhotra, doing UX India. She's a UX manager at IT Wealth Management and Mackenzie Investments. Before that, she was a senior UX designer at SAP, working on B2B Enterprise products, as well as a lead UX designer at Samsung, working on B2C consumer product concepts. We learned about the difference of designing for enterprise solutions versus consumer products, how digital legacy is actually shaping software enterprise solutions when it comes to design and innovation, as well as the maturity of design in India. We also touch on responsible design, why designers should know when they design habits and when they design addictions. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. Alright, I'm here with Tanu Malhotra, who is a UX designer at SAP in India, and really exciting to speak to you. So let's give the audience a little bit of context about your journey, about your stations, and where did you work in the past?
Sure. So right now I'm working as a senior user experience designer with SAP. It has been a 2.5 years journey with SAP. And prior to that, I was working in Samsung. And I was...
also in India?
Yeah, also in India. So both the companies are based out of Bangalore. And Samsung was more of an R&D setup. Where I was working on two profiles. One was on the designing commercial products, and the other one was designing innovative products. So I was a part of the UX labs as such. So we were designing futuristic products for Samsung. Yeah. In SAP, I'm working on B2B softwares, and I'm designing applications in the area of digital manufacturing. So yeah, a lot of complex processes around and a lot of data to play around with.
Yeah. And you studied in India as well, right?
Yeah, so I have done my bachelor's in applied arts from College of Art, Delhi. And I went ahead to do my master's in new media design from National Institute of Design. Yeah.
When you were saying digital manufacturing, what do you mean with digital manufacturing?
So digital manufacturing is something like
3D printing?
Not 3D printing. So SAP has a lot of customers which are dealing in manufacturing, ranging from BMW to FMCG products like Nestle. So all these companies have their digital setups in place. And to design the applications, SAP comes into picture. So not only design, like SAP actually creates or develops the applications in this area where the orders, right from the inception, right from procurement of the raw materials to going out there in the market to the supply chain. So the entire process runs on SAP. So I handle an area which is called advanced planning, wherein when the orders, when there's an order, when there is a shipment, when it has to be produced, before that there's a lot of planning goes in the facility. So there, if there are any discrepancies in so say for example, I have a toothpaste industry, and in toothpaste industry, I am running the manufacturing of a toothpaste in a specific plant, and that specific plant is having some downtime. So if I can push one particular machine or a resource, I can change the resource, I can change my orders which are already running on that to an alternative work center. So all these things have to be thought through, and there should be a one-stop solution for the person, which is the production planner, the persona which I work on. So that person should be able to find out what are the loopholes or find out what are the mismatches, and he can quickly take an action based on the data he receives on the screen. So we are designing applications in this domain.
So it's basically a digital platform for the clients to take care of their
Yeah.
manufacturing, right?
Yeah, to simplify it, you can say that, yes.
So how much do you have to learn about the manufacturing of these clients? Is it always like a specific solution for each client, or and then also I think maybe you can talk a little bit about how much do you need to learn about the manufacturing process actually in order to create the digital solution?
Yeah, so when I joined SAP, I was very new to this area because I was coming from business B2C industry or a setup wherein you have already worked on the products, you have already used a browser, you have already used a camera. But when you come to such a domain, it's like firstly you were like clueless what's going around, and then slowly you try gaining that domain understanding. So the teams were really helpful. They slowly steadily helped me in understanding the domains, and then reading about the blogs which were there on SAP portals, blog on Google, over the internet. You can find a lot of data and material. You read about it and then you gain the understanding, and then it's again a process. So you learn by doing things. So we have domain experts, so we design solutions, we discuss with them and they kind of give their inputs and then we understand. So it's again learning by doing process as well. But most of it was going out there and reading the material. Yes.
Is it for each client specifically? You need to learn how their specific process is looking like,
So
right?
mostly in my area, I had to learn about the process
Itself, in
the
general?
process in its entirety, and then as and when. So various clients have different needs, and based on their requirements, we kept on getting inputs, and then we customize the solutions for those clients. Also, we try in one of the application we have tried to design an approach which can cater to various industries, ranging from, so there is something called discrete manufacturing, and then there's something called process manufacturing. So discrete is something like when you are creating or when you are manufacturing countable entities like aircraft. So you can count that, I have to make 1 aircraft, 2 aircrafts, or maybe 10 engines, 1,000 engines. But then there are process industries, like if you have to create paints. So it's like an ongoing process. So it's not quantifiable, and these industries are called process industries. So for those industries also, so we created an application which could cater to both the industry, and it had options for the users to kind of customize their solutions. So it largely depends on the clients which we are dealing with.
And in which phase of the project are you working on? Do you go from research to UI design, or which area of the design process?
We rely heavily on the data which is already given to us, again over the internet.
Customer data, machine
and then
data.
A lot of times there is already a dedicated user research team is like we have a dedicated user research team, and that team performs in-depth user research, and then we base our assumptions on those research findings and the data. So yes, it's not that we do not have any reach to the users in terms of the initial research, but because there's already prior research done, we base our understanding on those research at times. Yes. And then so then I kind of like if I talk about my process, then I have a team of business experts, then I have a team of product owners, and then I discuss my designs or maybe the use case with these set of people, and then go ahead and start designing. And it happens so that there are people from which have various different competencies. So to make them understand what the solution is, and at the same time me understanding the use case in the better sense. So I create quick sketches or maybe quick mock-ups, and then discuss with them whether we are going in the right direction, so that they can also visualize what am I trying to do. So it's like a mutual benefit which is happening here, that I am getting an understanding of the use case better, and I am visualizing it, and they are understanding what it could look visually. So so if you have multiple mock-ups ready or multiple visuals ready, it helps both the teams.
And then afterwards there's a team working on the actual implementation with the work you do, right, to take it further and work on the actual implementation of the prototypes.
So in terms of designs, I am the person who is dealing with right from the concept to designing the actual full-fledged mock-ups.
Okay.
And with the user interfaces.
Yeah.
And so then it goes, so we follow an agile methodology wherein we have sprint cycles with the development teams, and they, as and when there is a requirement or change which needs to be worked on, so I kind of I'm there at their disposal. So.
Super interesting. And then I'm wondering a little bit, because before that you worked in Samsung, right?
Yeah.
Complete different space, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite a different space. So I'm wondering a little bit about the difference between B2B, you're working now at the moment, right? And B2C at Samsung, about that difference, and then maybe generally speaking about your experiences at Samsung.
Yeah, so the underlying design process is more or less the same. There are few changes which happens in both the cases. Like in B2C domain, we ourselves are consumers. So a lot of times we have an understanding. We know how a camera works. We know how to use a messaging app. So you have at least an idea or a notion of the paradigm, what it is. But if you're talking about B2B domain, then you do not know much about the domain is new, everything is new for you. Even you do not know how the user is actually using your products. So you rely heavily on the material which is out there. And again, so in terms of research or usability testing, so if I have designed a solution in a B2C space, I can go out there and talk to my friends or colleagues which are there, and they can quickly give me a feedback and I can improvise on. But in terms of B2B, we have to wait for a specific usability session or a partner test session wherein we can get the user's time and then understand. And most of the times it's very difficult to go out there in the manufacturing plant and test out the systems every now and then.
Yeah.
So it's a trade-off. So here again, the process is quite challenging in B2B domain. The use cases are complex, but at the same time there is a satisfaction that you are solving some real need, which is being worked on, which the people are working on in their day-to-day lives, and you are making an impact, like by your work you are making an impact in their work cycle. So that is quite satisfying that way. I'm not saying that B2C is not, but like personally I find B2B to be more fulfilling rather than
designer, right?
Rather than B2C, because B2C, yes, it's mostly you will find that I have to put so many colors, let's make the interface jazzy, or get so many transitions or gestures, and that is if something is new, it will be acceptable by the people, and they'll be like, okay, let me try it out. But you can't afford to have such sort of wacky ideation in B2B domain when you're designing for enterprises, because even one single color will matter. Like you can't just think that, okay, I am putting a scarlet color instead of a deep red, saying that my users would understand. I'm just giving you a very basic example. You can't change color because the softwares are they are having their own legacies. The user have been using the software since 20-30 years, and they are gradually picking up pace with today's interaction styles or user interfaces. So for them it becomes very difficult that you bring in one gesture or one interaction, and it's difficult for them to quickly grasp, because not all of them are new gen users. We have users which are in the elderly population as well, so we have to cater to a large set of audience. Whereas in B2C, it's like the user chooses. It is not impacting much on his work or day-to-day lives. Yes, I mean it would help him. These are facilitators, but they are not like heavily reliant on these B2C applications per se. So that is one more challenge. And the other thing is, in B2C, the consumer makes a decision that yes, I want to buy this product or maybe install this application. Whereas in enterprise applications the case is not so. The company would buy the software for you and you don't have any option. You have to work on those softwares. So given that the users do not have much on say in the enterprise softwares, and you have to make these software simple so that they can understand it, and then they can make it should be efficient for the users. Yeah.
Super fascinating. You were touching on legacy in the design process. Like, how much is that? Is that sometimes in conflict with some of the design ideas you have? I assume so, right?
Yep.
And how do you deal with that?
So it happens that already. So right now SAP is transitioning from an older user interface, which was called SAP GUI screens, to a new design language, which has been which we call Fiori. So the users are quite used to SAP GUI, and like we call it SAP GUI here. So here again, it is more or less like we are quite okay. We have trained our minds to do things in this specific way, and now you're bringing in a new design language. The users really need people who have been already well versed with those sort of applications. They need the flavor of the older applications and the newer or the new applications which are being presented to them. It's not that you can revamp something and present it on a platter to the user. He'll be lost. So you have to have those anchor points so that he understands that yes, this is the interface which I have worked on. It's not completely new. Acceptance should be there. It should not be that it's very difficult for me to learn, it's very hard for me to learn. That should not be the case.
What were some of the other projects you worked on at Samsung?
So I have worked on a low-cost device for the mass market. It's called Samsung Z1. It was based on...
it's out, I guess, right?
It's out there in the market. This was back in 2014. And this was the world's first device based on Samsung's own native platform, which was Tizen. So Tizen was the operating system which was designed so that Samsung's all the devices could talk to each other, because Samsung is working on various devices ranging from home appliances to digital products. So how can there be, like, if there can be a common platform so that all the applications, all the devices or the products talk to each other on the same platform. So this particular phone was first launched in India, which was Samsung Tizen Z1, and it was a low-cost device which was like less than $100, and it was aimed at people who were mostly blue-collared workers, who were working like security guards or maybe maintenance staff, laborers, migrants, or people who could not afford fancy high-end phones and who were transitioning from the bar phone to smartphone. So yeah, I have worked on that. I had worked on the application which was the internet application in this area. And then I have worked on Samsung's smart hearables. I have also worked on so these were the areas which were in the R&D setup. So we had designed pitch presentations and video prototypes, and these were basically not out there in the market, but those were at the very concept level, at the R&D phase, you say. And then I had worked on Samsung Smart Intelligent Assistant, which is now called Bixby. So the inception of that product was basically an NLP phone. So I had worked on that as well. Yeah.
Super interesting. Talking a little bit about India and UX design here, design maybe generally speaking.
Yeah.
How did you saw it evolving in the last years, and what's the current status of design in India?
So design acceptance has increased. So firstly, a very good thing about about India as a country is that it is a young population.
Very young population.
So the acceptance ratio, the acceptance rate is quite high. So like anything new, a lot of people would be working on it. And if something, goes and something is successful, again, people would start going in that league.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of design colleges which have opened up, and the sensibility towards design which has increased. So earlier, when back in my days, when I wanted to do design, though my parents are quite liberal and they would not, say that why are you doing this or why. But then they also used to ask me, what is design? What are you trying to do?
Actually, right?
What is it that you are actually trying to do? My relatives used to come and ask me about this thing, and it was very hard for me to explain them that what exactly am I doing. For them, a design was just fashion design. It was not designing products or user experience design. But now if I see, people are aware of user experience design also. They know what the designers are doing, what impact they can create in their lives. So yeah, so I'm seeing a drastic shift. You won't believe, every day on LinkedIn I get like around 20 requests from non-designers who want to become designers, and they have this yearning that please help us, please guide us. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot for me. It becomes really overwhelming.
20 per day
as well.
is quite a lot of...
Yeah, if I will open my LinkedIn account, I would have like 100 of friends requests, mails flooded around. I mean, it is overwhelming, but it's nice to see that people are actually, they want to do design.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I see is it should not be that it's a jargon, They think, fan design is all cool things, we should do something cool about our careers and our lives. They should understand it's a real profession. We are designing for users, and it requires I am a strong advocate of responsible design. So designers hold a lot of responsibility for the society when they are doing something. So it should be like, people, when they think that they want to do design, they should also think that what they are going into. It's just not a cool word. With you say with great powers come great responsibility.
They should know the responsibility they have.
Yeah, they should know the repercussions of each and everything they are doing. And we are designing for people. So do doctors. Like, if you say doctors are engaging with people, and they hold a lot of responsibility, right? I think it's the same case with us designers also. We are also designing for people, just that we do not have, those degrees. But yeah, I mean, at least since we are working for people, we have to have that responsibility, saying that whatever the actions which we are doing would have implications later on. So we should be ready for it. And we should be, ready to have the counter solutions of the, implications of our design. So yeah, so I would strongly say that yes, design is designing. It's just not designing beautiful products. It's more than that.
Yeah, I love how you make the comparison between surgeons and designers, and like how both sides have important impact.
Yes.
I really love that perspective. Maybe to wrap it up, so what would be your advice to have impact and to use design to have impact?
So as I have already told you, that you should know what you are trying to do or what you are getting into. It should not be that you just heard somebody doing it. Just ask yourself whether you really want to do, and just not that it is a fancy term floating around. Your peers are doing it, and you really want to go ahead with what are they doing. Because in the end, it is your call. It is in the end your profession. You have to take it forward. And after a while, if you think that, this is not what I want to do, so then why in the first place did you even think of, listening to people around you? So it's your life. It's one life which we have got. And then considering the fact that you should do what you should listen to your heart and not listen to the people around. And if you think that you are doing design, you should be ready to accept the repercussions. It's just not that you are designing beautiful interfaces or beautiful products. It should be what lies beyond these products. It should not be that you are making something which is easily acceptable to the people. The design process does not stop by saying that, my product has been accepted by 1 billion of users. It should be whether they are using it in the correct way, whether is it a habit you have created or an addiction? So again, there's a thin line between creating a habit and addiction. How much is too much? You have to quantify. You have to constantly iterate. You have to constantly check for the repercussions of the designs, which the people, which the impact of your design, which is there on the people. If it is too much, then you should be ready to provide a solution that yes, I have a solution ready to the problem which I have created. So just to solve one problem, you should not create 1,000 others. So yeah, I would say that you do design, but do responsible design.
Maybe one more question, and then I think we can wrap it up. What is your your view on what impact designers can have?
Actually, designers are having quite an impact. Like if you see just a small example, like people are now being aware of what beautiful or what usable products are. The demand of these products have increased. Like I really thank Apple for that reason, like because they brought the sensitivity or the awareness of design, the acceptance of design in the organizations when they started creating products which were successful. So when they started creating products that were successful, people found motivation in that. People found that they believed in that company. They believed that yes, the design could change products. The design could change lives of people. How design can change lives of people. So here people understood that human factors actually is something. Like if you would have seen the movie Sully, right? There the pilot was he took a decision and he was being penalized for something their teams were doing. They were trying to simulate that same situation, but when he said that if you were in that situation, the decision you took was far more different than what you are trying to do in that simulator setting. That is design. Like understanding the mindset of people at the very given time and how they would react to certain situations is important, rather than just creating mechanized assumptions. So design has actually played a powerful role in these things. Like if you say companies, like I met a friend of mine who is now recently working in Boeing. So like bigger organizations like aircraft systems and all these things, they are hiring designers, user experience designers, to make an impact in complex systems. Like just quote it again, like SAP as an organization has an army of designers ready to create products that are more usable for the users. So yeah, companies are investing heavily in this, and I can see the change which is happening. People are believing in design.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for sharing all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the episode. If you want to give us feedback on the podcast, have something to contribute to the next episode, or just want to get in touch, feel free to connect with us either on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram messages, or simply via the designdrives.org website. We love to hear from you.